Yeah.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you for watching UBC TV. And it is a Throwback Thursday right here. And my name is Philomena Mastiko. We are slowly getting closer to the end of the week, obviously. And I would very much love to know what has been your highlight of the week. So while we are talking and discussing, I would love for you to put all those ideas, all those opinions on the side, because I'll be expecting them shortly after this. But also there's quite a lot happening around us this morning, and very many other conversations we're going to be sharing amongst myself and Robert Kirabo, Nyonyintono, plus Felix Nkunda. But again, for me right now, every other Thursday, I'm always excited to hear what these two gentlemen are always throwing back, because sometimes we come to a realization that maybe we should go back in time. Maybe things were better then compared to now. But also today is World Philosophy Day. What is your philosophy in life? Okay, do you have any philosophy? Do you have anything that guides you? Do you have anything that gives you direction, that gives you a compass to, you know, when it comes to some decisions you make, when it comes to some thoughts that run in your head? Well, clearly this morning I would also want to know the philosophies these two gentlemen stand by. Maybe before I share mine, but maybe to start off with you, Felix. Good morning, how are you doing?
Awesome. Good morning, Philo. How are you?
I'm great, I'm okay.
Is it good to be here? Isn't it? How does this cold weather treat you lately?
See, I've never had a problem with cold weather. I would thrive very well, so I wouldn't mind it.
Well, it's one of those things that makes us limit lots of things, you know, in terms of movement. You want to... anyway, but of course it works for people who probably are having partners, I'm told. Bob will tell us who have partners. This weather is good for a particular practices. Anyway, my week is so far so good, as I must say. Okay. And still reminiscing about the nomination. We got some more information yesterday from the Grammys relating to the same. In clarity, the function will be in February, around 25th of February in Los Angeles. So we expect that we'll be there to enjoy that particular moment, the feel of
when you Grammy. Say we,
well, in the literal meaning of we. Okay. So literally. Interpret it just the way it is. We will be there. And
just reminding me of people who look for connections that they have with the rich people. He's my uncle, now my mother, the other mother.
But when you have those people in your circles, use them. Honestly, use them.
No, but for my case, it's actually intentional.
Yes.
Yes, intentional. I'm a frontliner in that regard. So, philosophy. If you want my philosophy, Philo, it's I do my best, not any other's best. I do my best. I try to do my best, and my best is my satisfaction. So at some point I got to a point where I stopped trying to do Robert has done this, Phil has done this, my dad did this, my mother did this, my granny, my.
Yes.
When it's all about the people around you, it ceases to be you. So I got to a point where I thought out my life, and I'm like, tell you what, I'm gonna do my best, and that will give me the definition of my ability. So that's how I've been moving on with my life. And up to this time, I have found content, happiness, and later on satisfaction in everything I do, because I believe that's the best of the ability I can give.
Absolutely. Yeah. And one thing about that is also you cannot lose your identity while trying to please other people or try to live their lives on their behalf. So yeah, I really like that philosophy. Felix. Good morning, Robert. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm very fine. How are you doing, little sister?
I'm lovely. I'm okay. I'm not complaining.
And how is senior citizen Felix?
Awesome. How about you?
I'm very fine.
Isn't it glad to be a senior citizen? But I don't think I am a senior citizen. I think that Meza
Yes.
Malala.
Well, Felix has seen a lot, and what makes him a senior citizen
I have.
is not necessarily the age, but what he has gone through, what is tested, what is experienced.
Yes.
You see, this guy sometimes you can think is 100 years because he will tell you things that happened
Robert wants
like he was there.
Robert wants
And
to steal
sometimes
my
I
money.
doubt, was this,
Robert steal
you know, I
money.
need this age testing machine to understand my comrade here very well. Soon he will show me a daughter as old as, and I wonder now, Felix, I don't know, I'm Zaladi, but it is what it is. You know, it is a Thursday and we're happy to be here. Thank you for waking up with us. And we're here to give you those light moments, but also importantly, to give you information you need to know as you go throughout business throughout that day. Now, personally, I believe in living like there is no tomorrow. Why? I make sure I do what I'm supposed to do, but particular day, I don't look at, I still have time. I don't believe in still having time. I must do what I do. I don't postpone anything that I could do that day. So I live every day like there's no tomorrow.
Well, there you go. Personally, my philosophy is you can't control everything. Sometimes you just have to sit back and believe that things are going to work out. Seriously, especially if you've given it all your all. You can't
Philo.
control everything.
Hey.
I've come to terms with that, and I am in the acceptance stage where I know that, you know what, I can't run everything. I can't run all these things simultaneously.
At what point do you say that to yourself?
Sometimes
That's
you
the
really,
question, Philo.
Yes,
And
when
I
you've
love
given
the
your
fact
all,
that,
yes.
that you're a woman. It's comfortable for you to say that because you're a woman, and with due respect, by the way.
Okay.
No, not being gender sensitive. It's easy for women to
Yes.
look at things that way. But a man,
You can't have
take
that
a back
mentality.
seat and you're like, things will...
I mean, you
Actually,
can't take the back seat
Philo,
every
you've
now
just
and
reminded
then.
me of a scripture in the Bible.
Yes.
I hope Felix knows it very well. That is Romans 8:28. Do you know what it's? All things happen for the good
for
of
the
those.
good. Work out for the good of
Those whom he called according to his purpose. So one time I had an issue with someone and I felt we could give it a try. We couldn't give up. He told me, you know, I think this is the will of God. I'm like, come on, man. He says, oh, your pastor's son, bring your Bible. He read the Bible. And this very person, next time we had an issue, and he opened the Bible and read for me a scripture. Paul had a thorn in his flesh. And it says, my grace is sufficient. And for him, it was very okay. He said, Robert, there's nothing we can do. Let's understand that not all. As I was panicking, no, there must be plan B. He was comfortable in a seat, backed up with scriptures, and he wasn't on pressure. Like, but how do these people survive? I mean, how do they live in this current Uganda?
Yes.
Because you have to try and try
sometimes you
and
can only
try
do so much.
until,
Yeah.
you know.
As a matter of fact, sometimes you can only do so much, and most times actually you can only do so much because there's a lot of conflict sometimes.
Too much.
And I mean, at the end of the day, it's only worthy if it's actually worthy.
Yeah. There are times you really push hard, you guys. There is a time when you really put in all that you can in whatever struggle you're having, and you know, things just I don't know whether it's Mother Nature telling you that, listen, you need to sit down, you need to calm down, take your time, things are going to work out on their own. But I'm not saying that every struggle and every, you know, conflict that comes your way, sit it out. Nope, that is not the gospel I'm preaching this morning. But when you have given it your all, when you've tried all the plan B's and the plan C's and whatever is available to you,
You
and
hit the
fails,
rock.
yeah, just
But Philo, you
sit
did
it
also
out.
talk about throwback. Like, I don't know about you, but these haircuts we used to have like 20 years ago,
Yes.
25 years ago, like, who even invented the comb and the razor blade together?
Who came up with that
Do you
idea?
know the pain, that thing, even as I talk about it, I feel like someone is, there's that comb that they, and then they, you know how parents never knew how to do it professionally.
Yes.
Some patches will stay, you have, you know.
Was that the big goal? Yeah, okay, it makes sense.
And they would look different on different head shapes. So imagine Chigoli and Philo, oh, okay, Bob, but no, cannot Bob. But.
Well, I'd never experienced that, but at least I know my parents went
all the
through
time. No, so like
what?
it was the order of life. I mean, because I think every after 2 weeks, designers were awkward, but at least
depending on the species of air you had.
For me, I had terrible. I know mine. No wonder it ended up in baldness. So.
It's a blessing in this case.
It was a blessing in disguise.
I know.
I just figure out Felix with Rigoli. You know, I never come
I had
across
Kaweke and it was brown and.
Oh, sorry. But also, one of
Yes.
the things with that is those days you couldn't cut. Is it called marine, where you completely finish off your hair?
You know, the hair.
Because that was only, I think, done when you lose someone. So they would tell you, can't you have to have some bit of.
No one had
those
time for those
Shaolin.
things.
Yeah, you heard
Shaolin.
Shaolin.
Yes.
No, you must have some bit of it. But for me, when we go back the memory line, I remember times when we didn't have mobile phones.
Oh, yeah.
Today we've so much thought that life can never exist without a mobile phone. But Felix, who has been around for some time, will tell you that there are days when mobile phones were not a thing. Today someone just misplaced their mobile phone. Have you ever come across someone who has done that? And they're as if they are mad. As if the world has come to an end.
The heart beats.
Someone's phone is stolen. You go to families, the son is on a tab, the mother is on her iPhone doing something, the father is on maybe a Samsung, then the maid is on Tecno somewhere, you know, and the entire house, everyone is taken up by a phone. People have funny handwritings previously, you know. People these days where they would read, research, it's just a matter of your phone.
Actually,
It's a gadget.
something I picked from Robert's statements. I'm sorry, but the particular thing I'm interested in, what he said, is the handwriting.
The
thing.
handwriting. Yes.
Trust me, you can't get someone from the 80s, fairly 90s and 70s, and they have a bad handwriting.
That's true. We really have a
Never.
very good handwriting.
You would be surprised, and even if someone stopped in S2, even my beautiful grandmother, you see her handwriting, it's better than these millennials. They are just doodling. But anyway, our viewers, you can attest to this. Look at the handwritings of people, 90s, 80s, 70s. Even if they stopped in S4, they didn't have to go as, you'll be surprised. You can even check with your parents, start with your parents, tell them to write. There's that italic.
Yeah, I think the cursive handwriting, was that the thing?
I think so. It says a lot about their teachers, man.
Yeah, but today
They really
people just
dedicated
scratch.
their time and I mean, there was no distraction, there was no alternative.
Some of us who mark exams.
Right now, it's a terrible story you have to tell.
You'll read, like, honestly, you mark like 100 papers. Out of 100, you mark like 60 papers 5 times, trying to understand, not because there's no point in the answer, but because you can hardly read what these kids have written. And this is at university, by the way.
So that is one of the things that...
Actually, one of the causes of failure at university and in schools is handwriting. Sometimes people have the information, but they write like, you know how cockroach moves and then it has left marks?
Because now even when you're telling them to do most of the things, they'll tell you type. Type. Type.
Yeah.
So
You're submitting
handwriting,
typed
people's
work, so yes.
spellings
Either
of
way,
certain words, because the phone will help you,
Yeah.
correct you. Is this what you want to mean? So
The autocorrection.
Yeah, so going back to those
The
days.
technology has
grammar.
made us lazy.
You see, by the way, and honestly speaking, speak to your grandfather or your parents and listen to the English they have.
Wow.
How their composure, their pronunciation, their grammar.
Their grammar, they are very
and you come and speak to
eloquent,
this,
they're-
they start smiling, mire, fire, was, came to was.
Slang, what this? Some speaker here, patois, others think they are speaking English that has never existed. So all these
As they
things.
say, all is gold, man.
All is God, indeed,
tell
all
you.
is God.
Honestly, we should go back in time. The times when we would actually send letters, I really miss those times. Very beautiful. I won't even lie about this. You know, the whole swapping of letters from one school to another. I miss
Now
those
I can
times,
see, I
right?
can see I've always
I
wanted to
received
get
many letters. I
evidence.
sent out very many letters. I won't lie, to friends in different
who?
schools.
Okay, Philo, were you among these coupling, dark cornering?
I was a very good
Can
student.
she say?
Can she
I
say
was a very
anyway?
good student. I never involved myself.
She's these ones who used to, you take me back those days, where there was this new bookshop. In our days, it was called Aristoc. I don't know today.
It's still
Aristoc.
Aristoc.
It's still there. Okay.
But you don't know, Robert. It's just down here at, I think it's called Garden City or something.
No, those days, if you are going back to school, you had to save some couple, get money. So what you do, you go to Aristoc. They had this writing pad.
Yes, I do remember
Well
those.
decorated with a lot of flowers, designs, and so.
A lot of glitter. Yes.
Then they had also envelopes, also well decorated.
But all for what?
Then you buy your stamps.
To write
For
to
the
who?
aesthetics, to your friends, Felix, to your friends.
The problem
Anyway.
is you act so much like an ostrich.
No, honestly.
But these are
I'll be
realities.
honest and I'll tell you about such things, you wouldn't find me there. My interest was in very different things like soccer, sports, writing later.
Anyway, I know
Trying
Felix
to
is
sing.
Felix is
I'm
lying.
struggling with chemistry and you're telling me to write later.
Anyway, it is Good Morning Uganda. We have been throwing it back. Nostalgia is what we are all about this Thursday morning. But also we need to know what has been happening in the country. Our parliament was sitting yesterday. They had quite a lot of issues to discuss. We're looking at very many issues politically, socially and economically. Right now, we're going through some of our local stories.
And we'll begin with President Yoweri Museveni, who appointed 3 justices of the Supreme Court and 1 Court of Appeal judge. Among the judges appointed include Justice Christopher Madrama Izama, Justice Musota Stephen, and Justice Elizabeth Musoke for the Supreme Court, and lawyer Oscar Chihika for Court of Appeal. Chief Justice Alfonso Winyudoro appealed to President Museveni for the appointment of judges.
Now still looking at local stories, we're looking at the Ministry of Education and Sports has released the academic calendar of the year 2023 from pre-primary, post-primary, college and other tertiary institutions. The Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, has urged all education stakeholders to adhere to the calendar. Now, the released academic calendar of 2023 for pre-primary, primary, secondary, technical schools and community polytechnics stipulates that first term will commence on the 6th of February 2023 and close on the 5th of May 2023, with a total of schools today 89. Total of school days of 89. The second term will commence on 29th May and end on 25th of August with 89 schooling days. This term, the term of these institutions will commence on Monday, 18th of September and close on Friday, 1st December 2023.
And now looking at issues regarding the fight against Ebola, government of Uganda has warned that it will not hesitate arresting the Kassanda district local government chairperson Fred Kasirye on allegations that he has suspended the Ebola district task force from operating at the district headquarters. According to the Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Crispa Diomonsi, if proved that indeed the chairperson has evicted the task force, the strongest arm of the law will not spare him. Meanwhile, the Minister for Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, has led a team to the field visit to Kassanda and Mubende Ebola epicenter to assess the state of Ebola virus spread and control. The minister, who also visited Mubende new Ebola treatment unit at Works Department together with Kaye Ere, the United Kingdom High Commission, and Dr. Tudismoto from, that is the World Health Organization, emphasized the importance of strictly following the presidential guidelines in order to fight against Ebola virus.
Now, the Interreligious Council of Uganda has called upon Uganda to be vigilant about the fighting to spread the Ebola by reporting any suspected cases. Dr. Joseph Sirwadda, on behalf of the chairperson of the council, says they are committed to mobilizing an active faith-based network and structures to support education and mass campaigns to raise awareness on the Ebola epidemic.
And looking at some of the international stories, starting off with the Republicans, who have secured the 218 seats needed to win a majority in the lower chamber of the Congress. The party's majority in the House of Representatives is razor thin, but it is enough to stall President Joe Biden's agenda for the next 2 years. It marks a return to divided government, with Democrats still retaining power in the Senate. Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump has announced that he will run again. Split contra Washington was ushered in by last week's midterm elections, in which the Republicans, who had hoped to win back control of both chambers, underperformed expectations. The Republican Party is now projected to win between 218 to 223 seats in the 435-seat House. But with votes in cliffhanger races still being tallied, the party's majority may not be clear for days or even weeks. Kevin McCarthy, who was elected by rank-and-file Republicans to be their nominee to replace Democrat Nancy Pelosi as the next Speaker of the House on Tuesday, celebrated having officially flipped the chamber. Crossing over to North Korea, the country has substantially ramped up border restrictions during the COVID pandemic, worsening severe shortages of food, medicine, and other necessities, according to a report from a human rights group. North Korean authorities have imposed excessive and unnecessary COVID-19 measures since January 2020, including upgraded fences, guard posts, and patrol roads. An analysis of satellite images by Human Rights Watch shows the strengthened border measures include the addition of 169 guard posts and nearly 20 kilometers of new fencing in the vicinity of the border city of Horiung, a popular transit point for smuggling and trade between November 2020 and April 2022. The Human Rights Watch said it had spoken to 5 North Korean defectors involved in smuggling goods in or out of the isolated country who have been unable to carry out their activities since February 2020. Back in Africa, Kenyan President William Ruto has urged legislators not to remove presidential term limits from the country's constitution, dismissing comments by a legislator that there should be no such limits on a capable leader. He said this on Wednesday during a meeting with lawmakers of the governing United Democratic Alliance, during which he urged them to focus on laws that could improve the lives of Kenyans. Many Kenyans have been eager to hear Ruto's position since Salah Yakub, a UDA legislator, made comments about tenure extension for the president last week. Saib had promised to sponsor a bill to that effect, saying the constitutionally permitted 2 5-year terms are limiting for governance. Opposition members say the lawmaker was testing the waters for the new president, who succeeded former President Uhuru Kenyatta after winning in the August polls and was inaugurated in September. Now, Brazilian President-elect Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva on Wednesday declared at a UN climate conference that Brazil is back on the international stage, pledging to a rapturous crowd his intention to build his nation back into a global climate leader after 4 years of rapid deforestation of the Amazon. Lula's appearance at the COP27 climate talks in Egypt was closely followed both by Brazilians and globally by advocates who hope his leadership could prove crucial to international efforts to avoid the worst-case effects of climate change. Because the Amazon rainforest is so vast, its fate is critical to global emissions. And because Brazil is a major developing nation, it has the credibility and heft to pull wavering countries into increasing their climate ambitions, giving it a power that transcends its borders. The talks were entering the final days on Wednesday as nations argued over how much money vulnerable countries were owed for the damage of a warming world. Well, very, very interesting seeing that many more countries are jumping onto this train and getting into the fight as well when it comes to climate change. But also one fight you need to involve yourself in fully is about your health. What do you do every day to ensure that you prioritize your health? Robert.
Well, due to climate change, some of the things that were easily to come by are no longer easily to come by. And also with high population, that some places where you'd find these freely have been invaded, people built houses there, so they had to come by. But however, Hallelujah Reflexology, what they did is they got all those and packed them in these bottles. Hallelujah Ginger tea, Hallelujah banana fruit juice, and Hallelujah tamarind drink. What these do, they simply boost your immune system. So at just 1,500, get yourself any of this bottle, regular use, you'll see the benefits. You'll save money you're supposed to spend on treatment, but also when you're healthy, you're more productive and also you enjoy life.
Well, it is Good Morning Uganda on this Thursday, coming to you live from our wonderful studios at Nile Avenue. And well, we are yet to have more discussions. We're going to throw back it. We're going to throw it back a little with one of our nostalgic songs. But when we get back, we're going to be talking about a topic that has many Ugandans divided right now. As of course, coming in from the Court of Appeal, clearly now it's not mandatory that a spouse will walk away with 50% of the property after a separation. Now, how does this make people feel? How does this make the men feel? How does this make the women feel? Well, we'll be having more discussions on that after this break. It is Good Morning Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning, Uganda. Thank you for watching UBC TV. And it is a Throwback Thursday right here. And my name is Philomena Mastiko. We are slowly getting closer to the end of the week, obviously. And I would very much love to know what has been your highlight of the week. So while we are talking and discussing, I would love for you to put all those ideas, all those opinions on the side, because I'll be expecting them shortly after this. But also there's quite a lot happening around us this morning, and very many other conversations we're going to be sharing amongst myself and Robert Kirabo, Nyonyintono, plus Felix Nkunda. But again, for me right now, every other Thursday, I'm always excited to hear what these two gentlemen are always throwing back, because sometimes we come to a realization that maybe we should go back in time. Maybe things were better then compared to now. But also today is World Philosophy Day. What is your philosophy in life? Okay, do you have any philosophy? Do you have anything that guides you? Do you have anything that gives you direction, that gives you a compass to, you know, when it comes to some decisions you make, when it comes to some thoughts that run in your head? Well, clearly this morning I would also want to know the philosophies these two gentlemen stand by. Maybe before I share mine, but maybe to start off with you, Felix. Good morning, how are you doing?
Awesome. Good morning, Philo. How are you?
I'm great. I'm okay.
Is it good to be here? Isn't it? How does this cold weather treat you lately?
See, I've never had a problem with cold weather. I would thrive very well, so I wouldn't mind it.
Well, it's one of those things that makes us limit lots of things, you know, in terms of movement. You want to... anyway, but of course it works for people who probably are having partners, I'm told. Bob will tell us who have partners. This weather is good for a particular practices. Anyway, my week is so far so good, as I must say.
Okay.
And still reminiscing about the nomination. We got some more information yesterday from the Grammys relating to the same. In clarity, the function will be in February, around 25th of February in Los Angeles. So we expect that we'll be there to enjoy that particular moment, the feel of
when
the
you
Grammy.
say we,
well, in the literal meaning of we.
Okay.
So
Literally.
interpret it just the way it is. We will be there. And
Just reminding me of people who look for connections that they have with the rich people. He's my uncle, now my mother, the other mother.
but when you have those people in your circles, use them. Honestly, use them.
no, but for my case, it's actually intentional.
Yes.
Yes, intentional. I'm a frontliner in that regard. So, philosophy. If you want my philosophy, Philo, it's I do my best, not any other's best. I do my best. I try to do my best, and my best is my satisfaction. So at some point, I got to a point where I stopped trying to do. Robert has done this. Phil has done this. My dad did this. My mother did this. My granny, my.
Yes.
When it's all about the people around you, it ceases to be you. So I got to a point where
was brought to you by
Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN cupboard. That's super easy.
We bring you a fresh, well-researched program to help you identify opportunities for investment, job creation, growing your entrepreneurial skills, wealth creation, and social transformation.
We have a product that is ready for schools, supermarkets.
Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Every week, we showcase opportunities for creating new products and services.
I now harvest a lot of cocoa. When I harvest it, I sell. After selling, I put money in my project. I have two projects. One is for construction of my house. Two is for educating my children.
Excellence in innovation, the passion and drive to succeed, and the right mindset to grow your business. Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Brought to you by Operation Wealth Creation.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone, the most affordable smartphone in Uganda. You get to enjoy free 1 GB for 1 whole year. My Airtel 4G smartphone, your best value for money. Visit the nearest Airtel outlet today and get one at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Hello?
This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Hey, Kaso's my brother. Long time. We last met when we were at campus. It's been a while, but you are the person I'm looking for.
Campus? Really?
Hey, you don't remember me?
Okay, so how can I help you?
I'm stuck in Gulu making millions and I need to urgently send money to my sick mother. But I can't find any mobile money agent near me. I've sent the money to your phone, as you can see the message. It might take a few minutes to come through, but I urgently need you to send the money to my mother. Let me send you her number and you send it to her chap.
My friend, I'm afraid your mom is going to die.
What?
Because I don't know you, I never went to campus, and I'm also in Gulu. So can we meet at CPS, we talk about it? Stay tuned for what Kasozi does next.
Tofera, refrain from unnecessary engagements with strangers over the phone. This message is powered by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
3 minutes after the hour of 7 a.m. right here in Good Morning Uganda Newsreel. My name is Philomena with Robert Kirabo, Nyonyintono and Felix Nkunda. Welcome yet to another segment for discussions. This one is going to be quite an interesting one. Why do I say this? Because I've already seen a couple of reactions from a number of people on social media in all spectrums anyway. Well, what we want to talk about this morning, the topic of discussion. Marriage is such a beautiful institution, I must say. But right now, as I speak in the year 2022, there are changes that are coming, and I will tell you that the reaction from different parties is not exactly comforting. And why do I say this? According to the Court of Appeal, right now, being married may not necessarily guarantee you automatic 50% share of property when you separate. Okay. Now, the Court of Appeal in Kampala did come up and they redefined matrimonial property rights for spouses in Uganda in its recent judgment. Now, there was a couple of changes they made, clearly that you have to make sure you take note of if you're a person who is intending on getting into this institution. And also, this declaration stemmed from a 2014 case in which the High Court came out to direct that Joseph Ambayo Waigo give 50% of the property owned while in marriage with Jacqueline Aserua after the couple separated. Now, this was also a different case where very many things were put into perspective, and I will say that it also led to very many changes. But according to the three justices of a court, they did say that the spousal contribution to the matrimonial property can be direct or indirect, and monetary or non-monetary, provided it enables the other spouse to either acquire or develop the property in question. So they are looking at the contribution you make as a person or one of the people in this partnership or in this marriage, as a husband, as a wife. What have you contributed to the marriage? This will definitely be put into consideration if the both of you opt for a divorce or to get separated. And then they continued to actually give quite a number of other changes where they said that the non-monetary conditions and contributions usually consist of unpaid care and domestic work rendered by a spouse during the marriage, like caring for the children, the elderly, the sick of the family, household chores, cultivating food, to mention but a few. And they also wanted to say that when court is determining the value of the unpaid care and domestic work rendered during the marriage, it should take into account monetary value principles like the value of similar or substitute services available in the labor or service market. Now, there are very many more changes. I could go on and on and on and on, but maybe just to start off with you, I think this time I should hear from Felix first. Yes, we're talking about, I don't know, what is your general overview about these changes before we get into the specifics, before we try to maybe analyze it from the perspectives of the different genders?
Well, the law normally gives a reflection of what is then has become a discussion of contention in society. Normally, such judgments are a representation of what is happening and what is desired to happen. This particular judgment sets precedent and definitely becomes existing law thereafter. You know that previously, when you go to the Act, the grounds of divorce are quite many, and you look at credulity, desertion, you look at adultery. However, some of them are supposed to be intertwined. For example, women, in some cases, may have to prove a double assertion of particular behavior than just one. For example, when you say that it is not enough for you to say that my husband is being adulterous, That may be attached to time, it may be attached to a particular time, or plus another behavior also. You can say is adulterous and maybe also cruel to me. Now, all these grounds of the law cease to reflect a particular truth of what actually happens in marriage. There's a case previously that was decided which gave leeway for 50-50 sharing. There's a case called Pius, is it Julius Ravinumi something, I think versus Jessica or something, but it was in the case of Julius Ravinumi. In this case, the justices agreed that, and it was totally contravening this particular discussion that has happened in the Court of Appeal, because then the justices believed that how do you quantify contribution? And I can tell you, as a matter of fact, I see a very big appeal on this matter in the Supreme Court. It will not take long before some group comes to appeal against it or this ruling. That one I can tell you. Because the question is, how do you quantify contribution? We are made differently and our contributions are expected to be different. A man doesn't give birth.
But you go in a marriage knowing one of the things is birth. Should we quantify you giving birth?
I don't know even what you're saying, Robert, but I won't answer that. What I'm saying, and if you take time and interest to understand what I'm saying, probably you will not just look at it in that way. As a woman is giving birth, a man is? That's the question. You get the point? If you're talking about marital roles, then it is important to look at every contribution, not just the material contribution.
Yes.
I've given you an example of giving birth. How do you quantify that? You just can't say we don't look at that because it is a woman's duty. Then you won't look at the contribution of property and what? Because it's probably a man's duty.
Yes. Because what they're looking at here specifically,
we must take account
physical,
of each contribution. And that's where I find this particular judgment not, it's absent in the aspect of fairness. It has a bit of its own, and we shall get to that. But when you look at women, they come to, sometimes they come to marriages with probably nothing, as normally it is. They may come with nothing. But the only contribution they give in this marriage, and in this case of Julius Ravinumi, the judges were quite on point. They said, one, you look at things like childbirth, probably even things like cooking, home welfare, and these contributions, are we watering these all not to be contributions? Are we only going to focus on a material contribution? If Philomena didn't bring a plot of land in a marriage, she will not go. So are you saying that when it's time for divorce, the only thing she shares in this is probably children which she has given birth to? The quantification is quite hard. Yes. When you want to limit it to make it focus on what is contributed, because some contributions are not quantifiable. As I've given you one of the examples is children.
Yes.
When you get a woman and she, in just 7 years, she has 5 children, do you think she looks the same as she came into this marriage? But you find the man could be looking much better. This judgment is good to a particular extent, but I think it clutters a bit of inconsideration for mostly women. Mostly women. Because, and this is anchored in our traditions as a society, as Africans and Ugandans. We must keep in our minds alive the fact that when we get in a, you see, and this, we must, as we have such laws, we must also accept particular marriages in Uganda. I think we're at the point where now we have to accept to have contractual matrimonial relations. Because These laws now that are coming defy the purity of our definition of law, of marriage rather, as a community. For example, in this African setup, even Ugandan setup, when you marry a woman, there's something actually in law called the principle of oneness. And that's why in some cases a woman may not testify against her husband because of that principle. So where does that end? Is it, you see, as I've told you, this particular ruling may not stand the test of time. And whether it is challenged in court, but even applicability. People have been together for 25 years. How do you diffuse what they have acquired together to say that?
And I mean, there were also statements that maybe the court is also confusing equality and equity when it comes to this.
Equity and equality.
Yes.
That's what I was trying to put across earlier. That when you say, husband I built a house, I bought land, okay. But the madam gave birth to 5 children. She has been washing clothes, cooking food, taking care of this household. What? And at the time of separation, you want to take what you brought to your house, and what is she taking? She has been probably maintaining all these things to the standard that you want. So there's a bit of controversy, as you put it, about equity and equality. I think the spirit of this judgment may not be founded in the realities of tradition.
Well, the discussion here is sharing matrimonial property. A spouse should, it's not automatic that when you separate from your spouse or when you intend to, that you will take away 50% after the divorce or while in the separation process. Clearly, what you put into the marriage is going to be calculated, or I don't know how they will be converting that to make sure that that is the percentage you will walk out with in this marriage. But Robert, maybe I would also love to hear from you. You know, there have been issues saying that these changes, okay, these changes are clearly trying to favor the men, and they're trying to make the women invisible, especially in marriages, the married women. But also, are we looking at some of the pros? Do these changes have pros? And anyway, what kind of advantages are we looking at when we bring these into the system?
First, I want to say we are talking about people who have been legally married.
Yes.
This law has nothing to do with people who are cohabiting.
Absolutely not.
That is a fact that we should remember. Even if you've cohabited for 12 years, then you get married for another 5 years, then you divorce. Property acquired during cohabitation is not property that is looked at here. So, but also, when you choose, there are very many avenues and there are many types of marriage here you can choose. Our brothers, the Islams, the Muslims, have their own way of dealing with divorce. Because in their religion, divorce is there. Man who says it Arabic word or Kutanaka, something like that, that I've been with you, this is how we handle. So for them, they have how it's done. Traditionally, also they have how it's done. So when the couples choose to go into courts of law, that is where this comes in. Where I come from, my faith, divorce has no room. It's not something we talk about. However, the word has come to prove that these are realities of life. Now, usually my land friend, Felix, usually tells me, law is not static.
When Robert says my land friend, actually it makes him a lawyer. But
It always tells me
you can enjoy the title.
Law is not static. That laws should change according to the times. When we look at Article 31 of our Constitution, subsection 1, it is where then it provided for equal rights of a husband and a wife and equal division of property upon divorce. Now, today, things have changed, Philo. Previously, women owned almost nothing. And there was literally nothing that they would bring into marriage apart from their bodies. Then begin giving birth, and they were housewives, basically. So by the time we had this Article 31, subsection 1, saying that at the time of divorce, let's split equal. Because a woman was a woman by then. Today there are many homes that most of the contribution is for a woman.
Huh? I need to understand
women
that.
previously did not have land, did not have property that much. But as law is not static, we've moved to a time when now women have been empowered.
Was this on the legal spectrum or on the culture spectrum?
So, like I told you, law is not static. We look at trends of how things are moving, society is moving. Today you can go to a home when it's the woman who bought the house. Finished house. She has you've bought rentals, she bought the house for you constructed. She did this. Women have property. Women have amassed wealth. And they get married. A fellow has her house, has her cars, she meets her. So now, saying that let's look at every case as equal, that is something I wasn't agreeing to. Now, what this ruling has brought into the picture is that circumstances of each case should determine the outcomes of the case.
Yes.
Rather than uniformity. We look at the circumstances of each case, feel okay in this home, and that is why it goes to say, if I've been listening and trying to analyze it properly, when the ruling comes out and says marriage does not give a spouse automatic, that is the word automatic, 50% share of the marital property. A spouse's share in the matrimonial property is dependent on his or her contribution. Let's assess for sure if there isn't something that is monetary and you have to go into non-monetary quantifying and looking for the formula, then the judges handling this case will look at that angle. We may say that this is very unfair to the women, but also one would say how fair was the automatic 50 to the men. You get it? So where we've moved, where the world has evolved with these developments, I find this law comes at a time. My only question or challenge I see in this law is what Felix also earlier alluded to. That's very easy for you to look at certain things, maybe you bought land, but these other services, however, even with that, I think we should look at some of the things that are actually roles or agenda attached in this marriage.
And maybe also...
Because that's why one of the areas they looked at, when they said contribution, when they said contribution to a marriage can be both monetary and non-monetary, or both. Non-monetary in terms of unpaid care rendered by a spouse during marriage, like caring for the children, elderly, sick, and relatives. But then they go ahead to say that where one party has, in the course of the marriage, contributed towards upgrading the other spouse in terms of educating him or her, such contribution should be deducted from the beneficiary's spouse total claim. So there are certain things they are looking at that if these can be quantified automatically, then at the total share of what you're supposed to get, maybe some would say, but you were in senior 4 dropout, I came senior 6, then you got your first degree, then your master's, to look at some of these things.
Yes, Felix.
You see, with due respect, is it still then marriage?
No, we've come to the end.
Yes.
We agreed.
There are things we do because of conviction. Because now when you start evaluating my contribution to your education, that's why I'm saying that
I don't think we can't even only tie it to education.
It's not even that.
Yeah.
For example, a woman came in thin, now she's fat. Okay, because it's the same thing as almost as education. She came looking a particular size of figure, now she's a particular size of figure. Are you going to deduct all the food you bought, the drinks you bought? And these legalese are destroying the purpose of marriage. And there's a great conflict between Christian marriage or church marriage. I speak about that because I'm a Christian.
Yes.
And these legal gymnastics. We are going to get marriages where everyone is
very sensitive.
I will use the word they say kuziga.
The worry
Like,
here was that
they're
there's
just-
going to be a lot of individualism in marriages.
and there's a lot of hiding now that is going to come.
The secrecy.
Secrecy.
But I think,
now,
comrades,
that defeats the purpose of
with the due
marriage.
respect to what Felix is saying,
Yes.
and actually I partly believe in his school of thought. Now, by the time we come to a divorce, we must understand the marriage is no longer there. You know, because if the marriage is there and still moving, these worries are not going to become an issue.
Do you know one of the causes of divorces, Robert?
Do us apart.
Have
But
you
by
heard-
the time we agree to part ways,
Fine, but do you know one
then
of the
this
causes
coming.
of divorce is the existence of some laws? One of the biggest reasons of divorces in grown countries are because of these laws. And I'll tell you, in the US, there are precedents we have studied under the law that because men hold, for example, life insurance policies, they are murdered.
True.
You've heard of these cases, and some of them even are celebrities out there. One of the reasons why someone can start thinking about divorce is because they know they can take a particular, a benefit. Now, once you attach a benefit to a process, you know these relationships we have, families, sometimes affection is absent. Some of our spouses can get sick. You've seen people here, and people use advantage of all these different forums. Now, but what is the purpose? And this is for us, I think an argument should be placed by the Interreligious Council to come and help court redefine marriage.
Yes.
The sanctity of marriage is not in separation.
Because now I feel like there is a conflict from the religious perspective and also
And the legal, the would-be legal perspective. Let's not be emotional about, and I respect court judicial officers, as a matter of fact. As I've said, what they're addressing is a publicly, the people who have been lost a lot, you know, because of this.
50,
in this
50-50, and I think
it has an unfair part of it.
And now when they look at it and say, okay, let's not it be, because this is my personal
yeah.
opinion, and I want to say, I look at this law as better off than the previous we had, where someone knew that the moment this breaks, I'm getting 50%.
Yes.
So it'd be very easy for that person to push either to an end of this marriage or to death of this marriage.
But the other question,
now, when we look at this one, where each case is determined by the circumstances surrounding it, that a fellow, instead of saying, if I separate with Kirabo,
yes,
automatically I'm getting 50%. You know, here we are saying someone knows that, well, if we go to separation, I also may stand to lose what I think I'm going to be getting. To me, this is a better law than the previous that we've been having of automatic 50%.
but where does that leave marriages?
The only challenge is how are you going to quantify the non-monetary? Which mathematical formula are you going to use? That is my only concern. About the institute of marriage, we must understand first and foremost that when two people come together, and I always tell my dear friends, don't rush marriage. I always tell my dear friends, you spend a lot of time planning for your wedding, what you're going to put on, what are the cars you're going to move in, but you don't spend time to prepare each other, to prepare yourselves, to make consultations into what you're going into. That is why some of the people will never rush that I do.
But can we also be cognizant of the fact that there are people there who get into these marriages, or what I've had people call them short entanglements, because they know there are extra benefits? Is that a fact that happens?
Very many.
Yes. So can we say that this law could be a bit fair on the people who have, I don't want to call them victims, but if you find yourself in a marriage with a person like that, it could be a man, it could be a woman, can we say that this law is going to come in very...
of late. You find this young boy has nothing, targets this young girl, then goes to court and says we must separate. That these young girls that are very calculative, they come in these marriages, some even never dare to produce any child out of this marriage, then later they know they will become mad and funny.
If they are calculative, why don't you know math also to calculate?
and then they rob. So here both parties are going to know.
Yes.
You've come into this marriage. If you're coming with that calculative and woodwicking the other, when time to go out comes and you file for the divorce, if there is no significant contribution you're going to make, my friend, you will get it at zero, and this man will get majority of his wealth.
Let me just say this
Yes,
for me. I think this ruling, away from the excitement it brings for the people who are not very gender sensitive. I think it should awaken our minds and majorly institutions like cultural institutions and churches to redefine marriage. And when I call redefinition of marriage is one, the pre-processes of marriage, the actual process of marriage, and the post-marriage processes. I think this should cause question. By the time court is pronouncing itself on such a verdict or a ruling, this should cause alarm for the religious, I almost went into Uganda, the institutions that marry people.
Yes.
We should revise marriage. If court is coming out, this is an indicator that you guys, what you're doing is not working. This ruling should open the minds of religious leaders, cultural leaders. Let me tell you let me give you an example. Most recent today, and I don't say this to attack any tribe or what. Have you attended the Okwanjula?
Oh God.
It is more of a circus. You know, how do you, and I've said this again, Kirabo, how do you take a bed for your Caesar?
Then these awkward guys they bring to speak, say, Tata, omukyalo ono we yakulira otuuka wano manye ekitanda embaawo tezikyawera n'olwekyo nkuleeteddeyo ekitanda ekipya
these are the things they ask you. You see a man bringing a convoy of things. These are the things that have, and this I'm saying, this ruling should inform our cultural leaders, the Katikiros of Uganda, Busoga, the kingdoms, the various, where as long as there's a cultural attachment in how we hold the functions. In the Western world, people come, they ask for 100 cows. Honestly and truly, this ruling should help us check. Go to the churches. People talk about Tuesday classes. What are you telling these people? My brothers in the Pentecostal churches, you are marrying people at the age of 20, 19, 11. As long as people are singing together. What kind of marriage is this? These kind of marriages, we must address them. This is why we're having such court rulings. This, actually, before we focus on the ruling, 50%, automatic what? Let's focus on why we are having as many divorces as marriages. It's a win-win.
Yes.
Today, as 5 people get married, 12 are divorcing.
And expectations are that the numbers are going to spike, the divorce numbers.
That's
because
why we
of this.
have these rulings.
Yes.
As a litigant, I see these. You go to family court here, go to Machindi, or just board. In the matter of Philo versus, Philo Kirabo versus Kirabo Gundi. Husband and wife, what happened?
Assumably.
Well, I want to take it at that. If people agree to be together, why don't they stay together?
So can we say that
Churches,
sometimes people are not intentional when they get into this marriage institution?
There are so,
they're not
many the deception in relationships. A woman will come brown yet she's black. A woman will come big bummed yet she is a bowline. A man will come lying that he has a car, he has no car. The deception.
Some are looking for accommodation.
Women today have functions in resorts.
Even weddings at the beach side.
That's okay, Robert, but I'm talking about a family function.
Yes.
Because Ekwanjula, I'm introducing you to my family. Whether kasisira, whether rujja lwa corridor we waffe. Kati ante kwanjula okuteeka otya? Ku beach. Kati these are the marriages we are talking about. And that's what I'm saying. The institutions must be intentional. And honestly and truly, we are begging. The kingdoms, the traditional, customary institutions must be intentional, but also the religious institutions. These priests, these pastors.
But also, Felix, briefly on that, can we come up with, if it is a law, also marriages are complicated because this is what resolving marriages, why they have become complicated. Church has its own.
The complications will always be there.
Look at this. Church, we've lacked a universal law. That is why even when we go to issues of, remember the marriage and the divorce bill, the domestic whatever, one thing the Islam people will tell you for us, we have a way of handling our issues. Church will tell you, don't ever come here with your divorce. Don't mention that. The Catholic Church, the Protestants will tell you. The traditional leaders will tell you, for us divorce is catered for. So even whenever we handle issues of family, I think we've lacked a common ground. That's why people have opportunity to choose a common ground that is accepted by all.
So can we say that these laws are gender blind?
The laws are just being the laws, Philo.
Yes.
They only deal with the facts before them. Now, and that's the unfair bit of the law, that you're basing on a situation of Philomena and Kirabo to make a judgment that we're affecting Kunda, Brother, Chinasa, Chipiro, Kasera, and every other person.
Yes.
Yet we are dealing with the facts at hand. You get it? We are dealing with Philomena versus Kirabo. But the ruling of that kind, of Philomena and Kirabo, based on their situation, is going to affect the entire marriage institution. And that's the unfairness that comes with what you want to call justice.
I think finally, Philo, what I want to say is, personally, I'm fairly happy with this judgment, because this way of looking at things automatically or universally is something that I wasn't okay with. I'm now happy that circumstances of each case will determine that is the outcomes of the case. It's no longer going to be that because you came into my life, I came into your life, now you feel we can no longer fit in the same room, so with you divorce, you take my half or half of what we have acquired. It is now we look at what has been your contribution, what have you brought, and
what did you bring to the table?
What did you bring to the table?
Is that
if you've totally just been well, if you've chosen that you no longer want me, honestly, if you've chosen that you no longer want me,
no.
And
how
you want
about if you chose you no longer want me?
No. If I've chosen I no longer want you,
you have made her choose that way because of your actions.
How are you sure it was grounds? Supposing, because they will look at these grounds first and foremost, court, and what you file for this divorce. So whichever party, then this we shall look at what has been your contribution. I've been seeing this as unfair. I've been seeing this as putting men in harm's way, or some women in harm's way. Because when we talk about gender, Uganda has evolved. Women now own and have property. There are men who had come because when they're going to, they begin messing around because they are looking at the 50%.
Just want to say this.
Or women.
This particular ruling puts cultural institutions and religious institutions on the check. Actually, it is this particular ruling is showing you that there is a problem.
The loopholes in both the culture setup and
the bishops, our
the
dear
religious
bishops,
setup.
Post Mogerere of the Catholic Church, Bishop Kazimba, the heads of all, as long as Mugata Abantu, there's a problem. The cultural institutions, there's a problem. These laws, don't be excited. They are showing you there is a problem. The institution of marriage has become so watery that this is where I want to say, what did I come? As I've told you, kuziga. But how do you live in? What is that? You have come together to be together.
Go into this marriage.
And I mean, there are people who are actually advocating for both genders to have their private and secret investments.
You're talking about.
You're going to see a situation where a woman who buys a plate,
Felix, what you do, you buy, you keep a receipt. You buy, you keep
It is good morning, Uganda.
When we are coming to the end, you bring your pile. You bring your pile to court and say that box and the other box is evidence.
Well,
of what I
sharing
contributed to this
matrimonial
marriage.
property after divorce, a spouse should not automatically get 50% after divorce, or at least it won't be automatic that when you decide to separate from your partner, you're going to walk away with 50% of all your investments and everything that you've had in this institution. How fair is this? What do you think about it? Does this actually make sense? Is it helpful? Is it gender blind, or it's actually something that we were looking for, but does it also show the loopholes in this institution of marriage? Well, do get onto our socials and let us know. WhatsApp us on 0709 602 592. Twitter hashtag UBCGMU. Well, we do have feedback coming in here from somebody, our viewer, one of our viewers from this is Mary from Boyogerere. She says, on my side, the judgment was not fair at all. And this Aserwa is a lady who got the man without anything. How comes they talk about 20%? They weren't fair at all. Well, she's, I think, referring to the case in which they best. Yes.
The other was 24.
It was 24.
When they began their marriage.
Yes, so she feels like this is just not right. Anyway, thank you so much, Mary. Another viewer here is saying, I think sharing the matrimonial property laws is most likely to cause more harm than good, because couples are now going to actually start looking at the 50%. They're going to start looking at the acquisition of 50% as nothing relevant, and they won't give respect to marriage as an institution. Yes, I think this is what they're trying to say. Well, thank you so much. And I do have also feedback coming in from another viewer here who is saying that well, at this point, women will know that marriage is actually not business. So he is in support of this. Well, continue letting us know what you think about this. I'll be sharing more thoughts as we go on. For now, we're getting into our papers to see the big stories. Good morning, Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone, the most affordable smartphone in Uganda. You get to enjoy free 1 GB for 1 whole year. My Airtel 4G smartphone, your best value for money. Visit the nearest Airtel outlet today and get one at only 250,000 Uganda shillings. Airtel, the smartphone network.
We bring you a fresh, well-researched program to help you identify opportunities for investment, job creation, growing your entrepreneurial skills, wealth creation, and social transformation.
We have a product that is ready for schools, supermarkets.
Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Every week, we showcase opportunities for creating new products and services.
I now harvest a lot of cocoa. When I harvest it, I sell. After selling, I put money in my project. I have 2 projects. 1 is for construction of my house, 2 is for educating my children.
Excellence in innovation, the passion and drive to succeed, and the right mindset to grow your business. Create wealth, transform livelihoods. Brought to you by Operation Wealth Creation.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body, because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome to the press review, where we get to have a look at the big stories in our everyday papers. The New Vision this morning: government issues new rules for cities and districts, and assets to be shared. Local government leaders react. In more stories, UNEP to set special exam for Kakumiro pupils. Now, pupils of St. Christian Primary School in Kakumiro District who missed the PLE papers recently will be able to actually have other papers set for them. The First Lady and the Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, yesterday directed UNEB to set a special paper for them. And coming in from the 2023 school calendar, well, it was released by the Ministry of Education yesterday, and also your World Cup paper, you obviously will be getting it in here. And also looking at the change and the new justices, we are looking at the headshots of some of them as appointed by His Excellency. And of course, looking at the second page, 2 days to the beatification of Father Dr. Joseph Ambrosoli. And HIV prevalence, showing you the cutout and the annual new HIV infections, estimated HIV prevalence in Uganda among adults aged 15 to 49 years. And also this is in line to the World AIDS Day, where we'll be celebrating it very early in December, just 13 days to go.
Daily Monitor, government releases new school calendar, and Museveni appoints judges to Supreme Court and Court of Appeal. We see judges, that is Stephen Musota, Oscar Kihika, Elizabeth Mosoke, Christopher Madrama. Now, sex workers accuse NGOs of profiteering in their name, and floods kill 5 in Kampala and Bundibujo. Now, worry as border accidents increase, but also in relationships pull out. He married someone else but wants to meet me. Now, of course, they give you other stories. Natu boss Owere denied access to office, and government in race to stop suicides in schools. Still in the Daily Monitor, we'll be looking at Kenzo's listing for Grammy Award excites government and fellow artists. Of course, they give you comments that came out from fellow artists. That is Bebe Cool, Shiba Karunji, Palazzo, Maurice Kiria, Joseph Mayanja, Chameleon, and of course government, and they gave quite a couple of uploads about this particular nomination. Now, today in history, Kilembe copper mines established and Suez Canal inaugurated into colorful ceremony. But also much to look out there for, where we see 5 killed in Kampala Bundibujo floods, and many other stories in the Daily Monitor.
New Vision Sports, all games live, and Uganda fields 48 in Ghana, and of course looking at the official countdown to the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. Only 3 days to go, and they're giving you quite a special on how that is going to be happening. France and Argentina in, and showing you fake fans at Qatar World Cup. Wow, people don't really take any minute. We are also having the fake fans already among us, the fans, so you can catch those in the New Vision this morning.
Fake fans, it is now Hazard defiant, and FIFA perfect shape. Gareth Bale has declared himself 100% fit for the World Cup. There now, Angonians wrap up season 2, and Bosoga Express abandoned, and Nadal ready to die to return to his peak. Last shot for Belgium Stars, Canada looks to start with yes.
And the Daily Nation, how Jubilee's 32 billion Kenyan shilling laptop project flopped. And we're looking at a scandal right now. 10 years later, the digital promise remains a dream for children. And again, ahead of the 2013 general election, then Jubilee Party candidates Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto promised to give each child who enrolled in school a laptop. And on paper, it was a well laid out initiative to turn children into digital citizens, but on the ground, things are different. Well, there you go. Catch that a full story in the Daily Nation this morning. Now, Ruto sets trap for Raila and Kalonzo in Iyala seats race. And we're looking at Mr. Kennedy Kalonzo and Miss Winnie Odinga, who are among the nominees to the Regional Assembly. And in security, special police units return in crackdown on gangs. And also looking at a tragedy over there, 6 rescued, 3 die after building collapses. Well, get yourself a copy of any of the 3 papers, or you could even get all the 3 and see what's happening in the East African region, but also here in Uganda from different perspectives. Well, also looking at what is happening on the roads this morning, the traffic situation, looking at areas of Namuwongo, looking at areas of Kabalagala, looking at areas of Chisugu, as you're getting closer, areas of Chibuye and Makindye. I could say that most of these parts this morning are actually quite free for you to navigate. Of course, a few places here and there where you'll be coming across some heavy traffic. Looking at Lukuli Road, we do have traffic that is building up over here, and already the orange spots are quite evident of that. And also looking at areas of Kansanga, you'll be expecting some heavy traffic around this junction, and this is mainly on Gaba Road. Looking at Chiwafu Road, we do have the traffic also starting to build up over there, so you can always use an alternative if you do have one. And looking at areas of Makindye, well, Makindye also has quite some heavy traffic here, and looking at also Soya Stage, I could say that you'll be experiencing some delays over there, so you should be expectant of that. Now coming in again from Muyenga, Muyenga is quite free, apart from of course a few hiccups here and there. We do have traffic over here, and also traffic building up as you're headed towards Bukasa. Bukasa, again on this same front, traffic is building up. The orange spots are very dominant on this very specific road, and as you're getting closer to Namongo, well, do expect heavy traffic. Looking at 5th Street, 6th Street, it's not any better. The traffic is very intense as we speak right now. And as you get, of course, closer and closer to towards town using the Namongo Road, you'll be again experiencing some more traffic, as the reds and oranges are quite dominant on that part of the road. And getting onto 6th Street again, you'll be expecting some heavy traffic over there. The 7th Street is also not any different, seeing color transitions from red to maroon, showing that the traffic over there is quite chaotic. And of course, looking at Mukwano Road, this one is a menace. It's already crowded with the reds and oranges, so this is going to be a major hiccup for you this morning if this is always part of your daily route to town. Looking at Access Road, as you're getting or as you're getting to join the Kampala Ginger Road, you'll be experiencing again some heavy traffic over there and some delays. The main road this morning also is already planted in heavy traffic. The reds are quite dominant, covering the most parts of this road as you're joining in and getting closer to Kampala Road. And it doesn't get any better as you come closer to Kampala City Square. We already see the traffic that has taken over Speak Road. We already see the traffic that has taken over Shimoni Road and Kampala Road as well. Baton Street as well is pouring in some more traffic from the several parts from this other part of town. So for the most part of Kampala Road, I could say that it's quite very heavy on the traffic. And looking at Nakasero Road, Lumumba Avenue, George Street, that again connect you to the city square or the square, you'll be expecting again some traffic build-ups over here. Lumumba Avenue is quite evident of that. And also looking at this specific part as you're getting closer to this roundabout that connects you to the square, you'll be expecting again some heavy traffic. So I could say it's quite a very busy Thursday morning for the most parts in Makindye division, and as you're getting closer to town, you'll be expecting all these traffic hiccups and inconveniences. Please be very responsible as a road user to make sure that you avoid all the chaos that could possibly come out of it. Remember that the chance here and the cause is to ensure that we prevent all these road accidents that we are having. We've been registering recently as declared by the Traffic Directorate of the Uganda Police. Now getting back to the feedback that we've been expecting from you in regards to the topic we were talking about earlier on in the newsreel, we do have feedback coming in from another viewer who says that the law is giving chance to things like contract marriage. And I know I have my lover there and I leave him for 2 years to go to a rich man, and after I make all possible ways of divorce so that I go to my poor man. So in other words, I think this viewer is saying that there could be more harm that will come out of this. And also coming in from another viewer here, she says that the question is, this is Timothy from Bale, who says, the question is, how can one prove to court that he or she supported the spouse's education? How about if you support your friend's education before marriage? Does the law have a provision for this situation? Well, more feedback is in, but get onto our socials and continue to let us know what you think about this. But we also do have Ivan from Gulu, who is saying that this is unfair. I totally disagree with the law. Court is giving ladies to grow horns. And he was saying yesterday his woman, after hearing about that, she was already joking with him that she can now divorce him and will go away with some of his iron sheets that he bought 3 months before he married her just last month. Well, what do you think is the future of this institution with these laws in place? Please continue letting us know what you think about all this onto our social media. Get into our Twitter, get into our WhatsApp, and share your 2 cents with us. Well, I'll leave it at that. We have GMU agenda that will be coming in shortly in a couple of minutes, and of course I will be having GMU extra as well. But yes, thank you for watching. Good morning, Uganda. I want to wish you a wonderful Thursday morning. I am Philomena Mastiko.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms. To prevent Ebola from spreading further, please take the following preventive measures: regular washing of hands with water and soap, avoid handshaking and hugging, avoiding any contact with any suspected Ebola patients. Any person who dies suddenly should not be buried but reported to the nearest health worker or LC1 immediately. For further information, please call the Ministry of Health toll-free number on 0800 100-066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and World Health Organization.
That's right. The Voice is coming to a city near you. From the 21st of October to the 20th of November, you get a chance to showcase your talent. Prepare a 1-minute MP4 video of yourself singing and upload it to thevoice.africa to register. Make sure you have a valid Airtel number, and if you're shortlisted, you will be contacted to come in for the live auditions.
Well, don't just stand there, let's go!
Music your passion, Africa your stage. The Voice Africa, connected by Airtel.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here. In the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's what you feel in the gentle caress of tropical wind from the mountaintops. And the glow in your heart from a warm neighborly invite. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking to the taste of food that takes you on a journey. In the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth. In the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the pearl of Africa.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN cupboard. That's super easy.
Welcome to English in a Minute. Beans are a common source of protein in many parts of the world. Uh-oh, did Anna and Jonathan have a cooking accident?
Jonathan, congratulations on getting the Employee of the Month award. That is awesome.
What are you talking about?
Oh no, I think I just spilled the beans. Forget I said anything.
Wait. You said award. I'm getting an award. I'm getting an award.
If you spill the beans, you tell someone something before you were supposed to. Usually it's an innocent mistake. But even though no food actually spills, spilling the beans can sometimes lead to a messy situation. And that's English in a Minute.
Live from Now Avenue in UBC Studios. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning and thank you for being with us here on UBC TV. From the hour of 6:30 till now, we appreciate you, our viewer, for your time. And that is our mandate to ensure, it is our mandate to ensure that we spice up your mornings with relevant information for you to fit into any typical or national or global discussion when you start your day with us, but also with a few light moments here and there, because we know it's a morning and we must have that smile. Must ensure that there's something for you, at least to smile. So it is a fully packed show, and you shouldn't miss here on UBC TV. Make it a date with us. I'm Robert Kirabo, Nyonyintono, in case you've just joined, and this is Good Morning Uganda Agenda. Now, also in this segment, we have a guest in our studios, and you're able to be part of the topic of discussion by simply going on our various social media platforms. You have a WhatsApp number where you can send a text message, but you can also send us a WhatsApp message. And the guest in studios will be responding to that. But I kindly request, in case you're to send a message, please do it earlier. Don't wait when you're about to end the segment, then you send those messages. It's very hard for us to read out because time would be up for this segment. So in case there's anything we're discussing and you have something you want to ask our guest or supplement on the discussion or be part of the discussion, do that. Don't wait towards the end of the segment, because then you will not get a feedback in case we don't forward to the guest. This morning we're discussing something very interesting, that is restoring sanity on our roads, and that is the ongoing border operation that began on the 7th of this month. However, earlier the border community had been warned that come Monday the 7th of November, we are going to mount a crackdown on indisciplined border riders. Now, joining me on set, I have the Traffic Commandant, Kampala Metropolitan, Rogers Nkauma and Sereko. He's with me in the studios. Very smart. This is the man I've seen some junctions. He himself going to the field to supervise, to witness, to exactly see what is happening. You're most welcome.
Thank you, our dear viewers, and thank you, UBC, for giving me this opportunity to come and speak to the nation, because I know so many people watch this channel. I'm really honored. Thank you.
Now, let's begin by understanding why this operation and why now?
Yeah, you know, Mr. Kirabo, we are registering so many fatalities in as far as border riders are concerned. They're dying in big numbers, including their passengers. So one of our mandates is to protect life and then property. So on the life part, that is what we are trying to do right now. You know, safety is very important for all road users, because how you manage yourself, how you take care about safety measures on the road will or will not help you, okay, regarding on how you keep yourself safe. You either keep yourself safe or you are careless and not mind about safety, and then the repercussions will also be dire. So we came up with this operation because we want to ensure that we minimize on the fatalities on our roads. It is very embarrassing to hear the numbers of people that die on our roads on a daily, and especially where borders are concerned. You know, the example I give to most people when I get the chance to talk to the public is that our heads are like a raw egg. You know, a raw egg. When you hold a raw egg like this and then you drop it down, what it does when it falls down,
it's gone.
That's what our heads do when we land on the tarmac, or when we land off a border in an accident. So with the helmet on, you minimize on the severity of the injuries that you will incur when you are involved in an accident. And right now we are doing this because we want our border men to be survivors of these accidents, because now they are involved in accidents every other time. I think you've chanced on seeing the CCTV footages that we usually produce every month, because I think I was even the happiest when I saw that they were releasing these footages, because people didn't know the magnitude of the problem. But ever since they started releasing those videos, people are like, oh my God, this is happening. Yeah, because when we talk without you people witnessing what is happening, it becomes a bit of maybe a hearsay. But now you get to see what is happening. And so we are trying to promote safety on our roads. Yes, sir.
Now, you've talked about promoting safety. Let's look at what this operation is looking for.
Yeah. Now, in these operations, we are, of course, ensuring safety by enforcing the use of the helmet.
That is to protect the head.
To protect your head. Yes, you might break all your limbs or get injuries here and there, but the head is most important. Why? Because it has more kgs, more kilograms than the entire body parts. That's why when we fall, it is usually the head that, you know, goes fast down on the tarmac. So it needs to be protected because of the impact it usually incurs when it lands on the tarmac. So with that membrane of the helmet, your skull is protected from breaking. It won't break. And now also we are enforcing the use of the reflector jacket because we want road users to be able to identify you when you are on road, especially at night. Why? You know, there are people who are, if you don't put on a bright garment, it is very hard to be seen.
That is true.
So with a bright garment on top of you, the driver will see you easily. And you know, with this carelessness of our borders, crisscrossing left, right, and center, they can crisscross that indiscipline of theirs, but when you can see them doing that. But then there are times when they crisscross without any bright...
You don't even know that you've hit one.
Absolutely. Especially like these trailer riders, drivers. They usually get involved in accidents and they don't even have a clue that they've knocked someone. Yeah. So it is important that we keep bright if we're using motorcycles and also have the helmet on.
Okay, so that is what now the officers we are seeing on the streets, they're looking for the reflector jacket.
Yes.
They're looking for the helmet.
Yes, for now that is it.
Now that is it.
We are not getting permits, we are not getting PSV, we are not getting third party, because right now it is safety first. Then those other requirements will come at a certain time when we shall give the riders time to now prepare to have these requirements before we start the operations. We shall be giving them time and tell them that, you know what, in this period we want each and everyone to have their third-party sticker on their bikes. Okay. After such a time, then we shall operate and then impound those ones that have refused to put the third-party stickers.
Now also help me understand, when it comes to the reflector jacket, is it a must at all times or is it only at night?
Right now we want it all time.
Okay.
All time. Even now, as I speak, we want you to have your reflector jacket on. We want it to become a discipline, not a one-off. Okay.
Someone is used that whenever I get on the bike, it has to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that we know that to keep safe, this is a requirement. It is a requirement. Other than that, we are losing so many people, man. We are losing so many people.
Yeah, recently I was at the Mulago casualty ward just next to Baila, Uganda.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine and our association, we said out of charity, because we had a tour to Mbale, that was just last weekend. So we said, let's do charity to other people who are there. They're not necessarily bikers, but they are riders. So let's go and extend some hand, take some help. What I found there was heartbreaking. So many border riders, some have lost body parts.
Yeah.
Others may never recover their senses.
Absolutely.
Yes, they are alive, but they will never recover their senses.
They will never be the same again.
They'll never be the same again. And that's why I'm like, yes, please implement the helmet. But now also, you know, it is bad to be everywhere yet nowhere. And sorry, it's bad to do things without actually getting the right meaning. When you're enforcing helmets, there's something I saw, because it comes to motorbikes, I'm very passionate about it.
Because you ride one, yeah?
Because I ride one, I'm into that, and I hope even at the age of 90, I'll still be able to get on the bike. I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
So one of the things I noticed, you're not looking at quality. You see, it is very foolish for someone to think they're having a helmet, yet it is nothing. I've seen a number of helmets on markets. I've seen border helmets, border riders, the helmets they're putting on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, when I get in Seleko, I think it's not just a matter of someone having a helmet, but what type of helmet?
You are right, you are right. Actually, we have had so many meetings with this National Bureau of Standards. Yes. And they're in the process of standardizing the helmet that is acceptable in Uganda. But you know, we have to begin somewhere. Yeah. We shall not have those perfect situations right now, because we cannot. But we have to begin somewhere, and this is where we are. But what we advise people is, of course, to use good quality helmets. That's what we do. Because on the road we get people with construction site helmets.
Yes.
Yeah. But we remove those ones from them. And we tell them this is not the type of helmet that is needed. you go and get the right type of helmet that has to buckle here. It has to cover a good percentage of your face, not just this top of the head for construction helmets. So the process is on, and the Uganda National Bureau of Standards is doing that. And we've been with those top officers from there, and they are through the process of doing it. So I stand on a very confirmative point that I am sure something is taking place in the Uganda National Bureau of Standards.
We just hope that is so soon.
But for now, anything goes. As long as you've protected, at least let's begin with somewhere by ensuring that people know that I need to protect my head all the time, including the passengers. Right now we are not even getting the passengers, but the accident is not selective. It's not selective. It won't kill the border man and leave you the passenger. Sometimes both of them die. Sometimes it's the passenger that will die. Sometimes it is the rider that will die. You know. So I also advise passengers, if you know that you use borders so often, you buy your own helmet and move with it. It's not shameful. Yeah. It's not shameful. Actually, it is very wise for you to do that, because you know, some other company, Safe Border, had two helmets on a border, on each border. But now, hygiene issues came up. That, you know, people sweat in them, and then, you know, and they were right, because now we have Ebola. Someone can sweat in it, you put it on, you get Ebola for no good reason. So I would advise that if you intend to use borders so often, you buy your own safety helmet.
That is common of our foreign people that come in, most of the whites.
Yeah. Actually, most of them,
if you've noticed, they move with their helmets.
Yes.
If he or she knows, you'll find them in a supermarket with a helmet.
With
a helmet, because you're sure of the quality of the helmet you're using. You're sure of hygiene. Then you know you're good to go. Still looking at this operation that is aiming at ensuring they have the helmets and reflector jackets. Now, there's been an issue, you know. For people to appreciate enforcement, they must know actually the reason why. Just enforcing something, that is why you find that most of the times I've noticed that border riders, they'll buy these helmets, then they just put them in front of the motorcycle. When they know police officers there, then he just gets it, puts on the head. After moving away, bypassing that checkpoint, then they drop the helmet, they put back the... So by the time he gets an accident, he has a helmet, but wasn't on his head.
Absolutely.
So how are you carrying on with sensitization? Force is good, but you see, you've seen, like I've explained, people must know the reason.
Well, you know, I think safety begins with you. Yeah, it won't begin with me as a police officer. It will begin with you. So it is really up to you. Behavioral change is important. Yeah, if you think you are doing this for me, a police officer, you've got it wrong. You've got it so wrong, and you know what? You will pay for the for doing that. You will pay for doing that. So it is really advisable that you change your behavior. You know that safety is yours, not mine. Yeah, because they will stay alive, you will die. You get it. So let's just, as I said earlier, let's develop this discipline of ensuring safety for all of us. For all of us, you, the rider, you respect the pedestrian, then we all respect each other as long as we step on the road. Yeah. And also respect the road signs, road markings, and we shall reduce on these accidents.
Now that will explain, let's go and do some bit of ordinary man's mind.
Yes, sir.
Towards police operations. One of the things that I've had, and it's good to clarify, was Unonyeza Sekukuru. It is at this time, Christmas is sembede. The police bagala za sekukuru, and indeed I would say some are getting it. That's sekukuru. There are those who arrest, don't worry. No, leave me. Then okay, continue. Are you looking for Christmas, man?
Well, those complaints usually come up, but they are common. This is not the first time I've heard about them. Whenever we have these major operations, you hear all sorts of allegations that when it is children going back to school, they say we are looking for school fees.
And unfortunately,
when it is
the
festive
they
season,
always happen at these times. Children are going back to school, Christmas is near, and Sereko and Nwabinez men are now told, let's go and begin this operation.
No, it's not right. It's not right. It's not right. But it is common. But what I can advise our viewers today is that never pay money at police, cash. Yeah? For us, the money you pay is in the form of a ticket. And you don't pay it at police. You take it to the bank. That's why you pay that money. It's not a police officer, the counter in the bank receiving that money. They're bank officials. You get it. So I think, of course, those allegations will always be there. But if you pull your money and give a police officer money at a police station to do ABCD for you, you are doing it at your own. Otherwise, you're supposed to be given a receipt for that money. You get it? So it is not just right to say, oh, police is looking for Christmas and they're demanding for money. Whom are you giving that money? And why are you giving that money? What is it for? You get it? Because I believe that for us, once we give you that ticket, you take the money to the bank. That money goes to government coffers. You get it?
The consolidated fund.
Yes. And then they divide that money accordingly on how everyone should share because of your carelessness. Because through your carelessness, government is earning money from you. You get it? So it is up to you to keep in line with the law, and then you will also avoid paying government that money. Otherwise, as long as you're out of the law, government is going to make money out of you.
Now let's dive in the operation, practical bit of what is happening.
Yeah.
Rogers, help me understand this breakdown issue.
Yeah.
A breakdown takes about 20 motorcycles at once. Then when someone finishes paying or clearing in the bank, that express penalty comes to pick the motorcycle. He's told that from Ginger Road, a few meters from here, a few, I don't, not even up to CPS. Person is told 60,000 for breakdown.
No, that's not true. You know, that's what I said. Allegations are everywhere.
No, these are not
just
what I'm talking about. I've done investigation. I've helped people. I didn't disturb you. And after clearing, they tell this person,
pay 60,000.
Pay 60,000 is a breakdown.
No. That's
pay
not
30 breakdown. And I'm like, now, where is the receipt? That money is not receipted for. And anyone watching will testify to this. Breakdown fee, first. Every police station, this breakdown business in operations. How does it run? How does it operate?
Let me get this clear. One, there are also allegations that those breakdowns are police officers.
And I find it hard not to believe that.
Yeah, you will. But I can confirm to you that those breakdowns are not ours. It is a side business for those other people who help us in these operations. However, at CPS, I'll give you where I sit. We noticed way back that I think it was unfair for some of the charges that they were demanding from the people they've told.
Yes, then you begin bargaining.
And then we put up a standard fee. And that was 15,000. Now, in these operations that we are carrying out, we had requested that these fees go to 10,000 per bike. But then they said no. Because I sent a message out. I can even confirm on my that I sent to the commanders in the field. I told them breakdown charges should not go beyond 15,000, rather 10,000. And then that team came and they were complaining, the breakdown people. They said, one, we pay the guys who load those bikes because they load them at the site of operation and then ferry them to CPS. And then they unload them and then they arrange them in the yards. It's not police officers who do that. It is that team that does that. You get it? So they pay those guys, then they pay for fuel because they make so many rounds, up and down, up and down. So they raise the issue of fuel. They raise the issue of paying the guys who load and offload and pack those bikes. And they said at 10,000, they cannot break even. So we maintain the 15,000 fee on breakdown when they raise that concern. Otherwise, we cannot operate without them. They are the necessary evil. You get it? Because people are complaining, but a police officer cannot carry a motorcycle.
Definitely.
You cannot. So they are the ones who help us, and we cannot do away with it.
One breakdown can take 20, 25 motorcycles, these borders. At 15,000 from Ginger Road to CPS in one trip.
Yeah.
Even if you had loaders.
But if CPS has these small ones, the Land Rovers.
The way they pack
it can
those.
take 20.
Then also, who pays for the damages accrued during this loading?
We don't usually damage.
I've had border people complaining where they just, because they want to take as many as can fit for them to make maximize profit. The side mirrors are broken, motorcycles, which because of the way they have handled them, the way they are removing them, you find their damages. These lights are broken, but who pays for all this?
I wouldn't say that I'm privy to that information that they over damaged the motorcycles, because no one comes to complain that their motorcycle has been damaged.
Okay.
You get, so I can't really say that we pay for that or breakdown pays for that. And secondly, they have to prove that actually the bike was in a better mechanical condition than how it is now, which is also pretty hard to do. You get it. So that's how it is.
Well, I must remind our viewers that I'll be reading out your messages on the number on your screen. Please send on that number 0709 60 2592 0709 60 2592. I'll be reading all your text messages and the WhatsApp messages. Also, now we've talked about the issue of the breakdown. 15,000 should be what someone
that
should
is CPS
pay.
Kampala.
CPS.
Yeah.
Now this is a problem.
This
You
is CPS
Kampala Metropolitan.
No, listen, listen. Yes, I'm Kampala Metropolitan.
Yes.
There are other places where it is 10. You get it? Because for them, I think they operate nearer to the stations. They don't have so many rounds they make.
To be around about, then Katwe police station.
Yes. But here you call him at Akesh Avenue, you come to Ginger Road, you go to here, there. They are always on the move.
But shouldn't exceed at least 15,000?
Yes, they shouldn't. For borders.
For borders.
For a car, they shouldn't exceed 30,000.
Good, Sedeko. Thank you for coming to the show.
Yes.
People have been, this is where theft of the highest order has been exploiting people.
Actually, in my office, the charges are there on the wall.
Now, let's go, before I go to the messages, the manner of handling these border people. Recently, I almost, but I thank God for His grace, I almost packed and went for a police officer.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have people, are they goons? Must I use that word? Or it's so, are they bayaye? That police uses in some of these operations. This guy, the way, a border is having someone concentrating, but didn't have a reflector jacket. Like they're picking grasshoppers, picking thugs. The moment there is any jam, they come, they rush. Some are falling, some are landing. And an operation is an operation.
Yeah.
But I think that there's extreme handling that I got out and asked this person, obusungu obujjawa naga amanyi ogwira omuntu avuga piki eyetise with all that force and like someone has already wronged you. Or the more you arrest, the more you're getting that you're yearning, let me get as many motorcycles. There's one funny guy at Katwe. He's called Menji. I think he's called Menji or Menja. He puts on this blue and white. The blue coverage, yes. I think he has a problem.
Okay.
Because the way he handles, the way, You know, I think this is something really...
Well, thank you for raising that. One, when we are giving orders, we are very clear. Yeah, we stress professionalism in the way we handle operations. And unfortunately, you get these one-off cases where we have so many people, officers, who act like as if they never got the orders. However, if we get someone to complain over an officer for mishandling them, also we take that channel and we discipline our officer according to our disciplinary actions. Yeah, but when we are giving the orders, we are very clear: be professional, don't manhandle people. But also you must know that during these operations we get some other offenders who are also not simple, that will need that stronger arm to get them to conform. You get it? Those are also there in society, naturally. But also there are those that you will tell them to stop, and they will stop, and they will be submissive to you, and then they will do whatever you're telling them to do. You get it? So how will you also approach, rather, how will you respond to the officer will also, you know, make what do I call it? How you respond to the officer is how they will respond to you. Let me put it that way. If you are gentle and calm, and you are listening to what they are telling you, they will handle you gently. If you are, you know how most of these guys are, yeah, they will also employ some more strength on you.
What about these people in layer that don't look to me to be police officers?
No.
That are being employed to help in this?
Actually, let me look straight in this camera and tell our members, Ugandans, when we are carrying out these operations, we don't involve any civilians in the operation. We don't do that. And this matter has kept on coming every so often. But we don't deal with any civilian when we are carrying out these operations. If our officers are working with them, we don't give them instructions to work with any civilian. Whoever is doing it out of our orders. And if you have any police officer who is liaising with civilians to do the operation, please let us know and give us the names of that officer, because the names are on our uniforms. You say Kaumanserepo is dealing with civilians at this point. You get it? We shall take action against those officers.
Thank you. Yep. Now let me move to the public and see what they have for you. Here, good morning, Kirabo. Thanks a lot for the wonderful program. I am Sam from Wandegea. Please, Mr. Kirabo, tell Afande and Sereko that most police drivers and police riders who use motorcycles are so indisciplined on the road. They act with so much impunity, especially in regards to traffic lights.
Let
so
me
please
answer
help
that
us.
one right away. You are right. The one who has raised that concern. You are right. We know that. And some of them have been involved in accidents recently. You get it? So this safety is not selective. It is for all of us, including police officers. So some of us have been knocked because of that kind of mannerisms. You get it? So whoever is on the road and they think that they are above the law, alas, they are going to die.
Now, hi, this operation, is it targeting only border riders or even the general population who ride motorcycles for personal use?
Safety is for all of us, so we also enforce on other people who are not operating as borders. We want you with your safety helmet. We would want you with your reflector jacket.
Then, good morning, UBC. This is Ivan Frederick from Gulu City. Why didn't they start that before checkpoints were removed? Don't you think that this is another way of traffic officers looking for survival, since it has turned into extortion from us border riders?
Now, just because they announced about this operation, ASP NAPIM announced about it, that it will begin on the 7th. But earlier, even before they announced, we were actually carrying out these operations. If you went behind most police station yards at the backyard, you will see so many borders there. And those were even impounded before this major operation began. So it's not like we've begun now. We have always been doing this.
Still moving on, Hassan from Kasangati. That enforcement is just for a matter of time. Those borders will eventually go back to the normal way of doing things.
Yes. There's also that concern that sustainability is not usually followed here, but it is kind of true, but it's because we are not on border issues alone. Yeah, we enforce so many other things. So once we identify a challenge at a time, that's what we shall handle at that time. But that doesn't mean that the other operation has now ended. So we shall wake up one morning and say now, oh, we are realizing now people are going back to not wearing reflector jackets. And then we shall come back and hit. You get it? Put you in line, and then we shall relax that area, and then we shall handle these people who don't pay for EPS tickets. We shall hit, and then when we see that there's some form of compliance, we shall leave that one, and then we go for DMCs. Yeah, but there's a lot we are doing. We shall not be on that
now
issue alone.
we hear that drone thing. Okay, I took time and looked at the border accidents, but motorists do not respect junctions and roundabouts. They need to reduce speed when approaching junctions.
Absolutely, and that's why we are trying to introduce the yellow box rule. Yeah, have you heard of the yellow box rule?
What's that?
There's a yellow box. There's a yellow box painted like at Kira Road. There's a box there, and then one near Kavira Country Club. That box is to regulate traffic at junctions. And to address that concern, that yellow box, once it starts to operate, because we need to sensitize the public on how it works, which we haven't done now, although we are doing it. So that particular concern is going to be managed by the yellow box once it starts to operate fully.
Okay.
In respect of the junctions.
Now, this is Obote from Ginger. I think they should be trained with defensive driving, stroke riding, before issuing the permits and the road safety, and they will know advantages of those PPEs. It is, okay, that's what he says. Then, good morning, Robert. Thanks for the program. As usual, I need clear information from the officer. Why do these border riders don't respect traffic lights, road signs, zebra crossings, and surprisingly, they ride when people are on the road? Traffic officers are meant to control motor vehicles only. I think he's asking, are traffic officers meant to control motor vehicles only?
It goes back to behavioral change, the one I mentioned earlier. And you know, most of these riders don't even go to driving schools to learn how to ride. You, my friend Kirabo, could be having a motorcycle, and then I come, you teach me to ride in the first 2 hours. Then I learn how to change those gears, and then I start riding someone the next hour. After the first 2 hours you've taught me, the third hour, I'm already putting a passenger on the bike, and I'm riding. I don't know what the lights mean. I don't know what the road sign mean. I don't know anything. So those are the cases you see in our city, because people have no idea what these road signs are. And then when they tell them, you know what, you need some little bit of training, they say, no, we don't want. You get it. So what kind of society is this?
Very complicated.
Yeah, because, and then after you start enforcing, they say, oh, you haven't taught us, you didn't even alert us of anything. What is there to alert you? Because the first thing you would have done first is to go through the process of learning. Oh, this light means this road sign means this, and then you don't first ride and then you want to come and then study. So there's no need of telling us that, oh, you didn't even tell us, you didn't even warn us. Warn you of what?
Because these are requirements. Now, an interesting one, much as it's not for Kampala Metropolitan, this one says, thanks, Afande. I'm seeing this operation up country also, but they tend to use this for personal gains or to collect money. When you are arrested, you only beg the officer and give something small like 20,000 and you're released. So if you could direct them to work only where there are CCTV cameras, especially in Arua City, the situation is worse.
Why do you beg to give the officer 20,000?
To let you off
I
the
wish
hook.
he could also answer me. Why do you beg the officer to give him 20,000? You get the ticket or 40,000, go and pay in the bank, come and pick your bike. Yeah.
Now this one is asking, wouldn't it have been better to start with licenses? Reflectors don't stop accidents, according to the person who has sent us the message.
That is right. They don't stop accidents. But as I said earlier, someone learns from you, Kirabo. They don't mind about licenses. They don't mind about anything. They just get to know the use of a license when they are involved in an accident. Yes, because without your license, driving license, then that means you are not even supposed to be on the road. And yet, the other person who knocked you could have been wrong, yeah, because he has a permit and everything is okay. But you, the person they knocked, you were not supposed to be on the road in the first place. You are not permitted to be on the road riding a motorcycle. You get it? So the law becomes a bit unfair to you. You get it? For being on the road without a license. But if you had a license, and also this driver had a license and he knocked you, you stand better chances of winning that case.
Okay.
Yes.
Now going to the message section. Yes, good morning. I am a PR. Naziwa Machinde, but would be good these border people to be advised to have 2 helmets, one for themselves and the other for the passenger. Hey, we don't want them. Godwin is my name. Thank you for the program. Tell that officer that also what they implement on the side, they end up breaking it. For example, crackdown charges is not standard as he has said, and people also breakdown. Yeah, and people also ask for some money. They're also rude, and the way they load the bikes, they load them in a very bad manner.
Yeah. I think we talked about that already. Professionalism, how you respond to the offenders. You have to be polite. We tell these officers to do that. But if they don't, again, they're humans. They're not robots. You know? A human being is a human being. Even with this information furnished to them that, you know, we are supposed to act this way, professionally, be polite, don't be abusive, blah, blah. You get cases of people abusing people on the road. But as I said earlier, also how you approach, how you respond to the officer will determine how he handles you. You get it? Yes. It takes 2 to tango. How you approach me, how I approach you matters, and how you respond to me also matters.
Well, there's so many messages. I think I'll go through now very, very fast. This is Timothy from Tororo. Is it true that traffic officers were removed from the roads? I don't think so.
No, I think he thinks about the checkpoints.
The checkpoints. Yeah. Good morning, Kirabo. I personally concur with the officer on the fact that these operations being done towards Christmas days, etc., is it the right time to reduce? It is the right time for him. He agrees the right time to reduce on accidents.
Because this is also the season when we register so many accidents.
So he says, people rushing for Christmas and making ends meet. Then, very interesting. I took time and looked at the accidents. Some are similar anyway. So let me look for those that are slightly different. Oh, there are a number that agree with you for this time of the operation. Most of the border people don't know how to read road signs, improve their qualifications to at least after P7.
I don't know how to respond to that, really. Yeah, because you find people who are good drivers, but they've never attended a class. I mean, this academic class, let alone the driving lessons. yet they are good in driving. So I think that will be a bit discriminative.
Then another interesting one also, Afande Sereko, do not lie to us. With the traffic officers, even if you have everything, you'll be questioned. Why are you putting on many jackets so that you can pay something? That you've talked about now, you're looking for helmet and reflector jackets.
Yes.
But even if you have the helmet and the reflector jacket, and this is the sole purpose for now for this operation, still they look for something. Why are you having many jackets? At least to find ways of extorting.
Thank you. I've got some cases of a nature, but once I get to learn about them, if someone comes and says, you know what, I had my reflector jacket on, I had my helmet on, and now this officer is now telling me that my tire is bad. You get it? Those people, I release them. I have evidence. If you want, you can come in our records and I show you. Each person I release, I even put a note that, you know what, release this person because this operation is about helmets and reflector jackets. We're not looking for third-party stickers right now.
You ever seen one scaring Kuba ticket and it's irreversible? So now what happens?
No. Officers have paid for tickets. Yes. If you issue a ticket unfairly and the driver or rider comes and complains, and then we call the other party, the police officer who issued the ticket, we demand to know the circumstances under which that ticket was issued. You get it? So when we see that discrepancy that our officer was not right, we demand that our officer pays for that ticket, because all those tickets that are issued have to be paid. So if you issue a ticket maliciously, you pay for it.
One last one in the interest of time. Good morning, Kirabo. Thanks so much for hosting Senior Nsereko Rogers. I'm Charles Adrian in Bugolo. It is cheaper to give 20K to a police officer, that is 20,000 at the scene, than being told to police cause it damages your motorcycle, it is dangerous, and the costs later are more expensive than the 20,000 you would have paid. Let's end with that for now.
Now, if you volunteer to pay the officer the 20,000, please don't complain that I gave the officer money if he didn't demand for it. Lie low like an envelope, pay your 20,000, move on. Simple.
Let's have your final remark.
Yes. Now, Ugandans, we are going in this festive season, and it is a season that is really, really bad, because we register so many fatalities in this festive season. So I call upon you to all be very, very careful. Make sure that safety comes first for you and your family. We want to enter 2023 together, and we don't want to lose a single life in this festive season. I thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for your time. I know it's a bit scheduled, most of morning hours, but thank you for finding time and making clarifications here and there. Now, people know that you're out there looking for reflector jackets and helmets, but they also know that in case of unfairness, it comes to receipting, that can be challenged, and also breakdown, at least maximum should be 15,000 for motor vehicles.
At CPS.
At CPS. Maximum is 15,000.
30,000 for motor vehicles, 15,000 for motorcycles.
Now, those other places, you've left us to the...
No. I communicated, but it is CPS that raised the concern. The others, I think, are carrying on with the 10,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see you tomorrow. God bless you. Have a lovely day. Stay safe. Remember, Ebola is around. We shouldn't have this in more districts. Let's ensure that we report anybody we suspect to the authorities, and please do not escape from isolation centers. God bless you. Stay safe.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by...
Simply make a small deposit of 99K and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN cupboard. That's super easy.
The Ministry of Health informs the public that there are confirmed cases of Ebola in Uganda. We, however, urge the public not to panic as the situation is being managed. The Ministry of Health further reminds the public to be on the lookout for any persons who may show signs and symptoms of Ebola. These include high body temperature, abdominal pains, diarrhea, vomiting, bleeding from the body openings such as the nose, eyes, and mouth. Please inform the nearest health worker immediately if you see anyone with these signs and symptoms. To prevent Ebola from spreading further, please take the following preventive measures: regular washing of hands with water and soap, avoid handshaking and hugging, avoiding any contact with any suspected Ebola patients. Any person who dies suddenly should not be buried but reported to the nearest health worker or LC1 immediately. For further information, please call the Ministry of Health toll-free number on 0800 100 066 or send a free SMS to your report on 8500. This message is from the Ministry of Health with support from UNICEF and World Health Organization.
That's right. The Voice is coming to a city near you. From the 21st of October to the 20th of November, you get a chance to showcase your talent. Prepare a 1-minute MP4 video of yourself singing and upload it to thevoice.africa to register. Make sure you have a valid Airtel number, and if you're shortlisted, you will be contacted to come in for the live auditions.
Well, don't just stand there, let's go!
Music your passion, Africa your stage. The Voice Africa, connected by Airtel.